Hi everyone and welcome back. So in this class, I'm going to take you through a grounding slow flow. So it's all about connecting back to yourself, becoming more embodied, and coming closer to ground. So there will be movement, but it's going to be gentle. And as always, if there is restrictions or if you have injuries, you can always scale even more down. You can always skip if something for any reason doesn't feel good. So we're gonna go ahead and get started in a cross-legged seat if possible. So finding your way into it. And if you need to, you can elevate the hips by sitting on a blanket or a pillow. If you have one of those meditation pillows, it's quite nice. And I invite you to place your hands down somewhere to your thighs so that you can just relax your arms, but so that you can feel your own touch. And if you are comfortable with, you can close down the eyes. And you're going to gently move your awareness down to your seat. So down to where you feel your sitting bones meeting with ground or the pillow or the mat. And see with curiosity if you can, at the same time, feel your hands against your skin on your thighs. So feeling into your seat and your touch. And just this. And then with curiosity, again, a lot of curiosity today, you're going to start to guide your breath towards these points of connection. So into your own seat, but also into your own touch. Even if it's just this awareness of moving energy down, sometimes it can be a little bit challenging and that's okay, but see if you can, with that intention, move both energy and breath down. Maybe your lower belly expands a little bit. And just continuing for a couple more rounds. At any time, if you feel like your body needs to move or wiggle or adjust to get more comfort, do so. Good. Last round of breath. Down to the lower centers of the body. And in this stillness, I'm going to guide you to start to spiral your torso a little bit over to the right, then forward, over to the left. So it's like you're moving your chest and your heart, your spine, creating these whirlwinds and spirals, and just continuing in one direction. It doesn't matter if you started in the other way. And as you're moving, feel how you're also pouring your weight in your seat over to one side and the other. And just continuing with this. Moving. And then pause in center for a moment. And notice how the still point feels. When there's an invitation to, you start to spiral over to the other side. And for many, this movement is quite simple. So if your brain and your mind starts to kind of get a little bit bored, just take a note out of that. Can be quite interesting to see what the mind kind of wants out of this. The mind tends to have this agenda of, getting somewhere, always. But keep on moving the spine and feeling into how this affects the weight in your seat. So we're grounding the energy down, down, down. Good. Do one more round on your own. It can be a bigger or a smaller movement. And then coming back to your seat. Coming into that still point again. And then as you inhale, you're going to reach the arms up towards sky. I have the sun coming in at the exact same time. As you exhale, you're going to cross your fingers like this, elbows out, and bring the hands just to the lower part of the back of the skull, right there. We're going to start to move the spine even more here. So as you inhale, press your sitting bones as far back as they go. See if you can broaden the chest a little bit. And as you exhale, we're going to round any amount, so you decide how big this movement becomes. And then continue with these. As you inhale, you broaden and open. And as you exhale, you round in. And you're going to continue with this gentle swaying and moving. Breathing into those layers and corners of you that are opening up. Doing 2 slow more movements. And starting to slowly come back up to a straight spine next time you inhale. Arms are gonna reach up towards sky, and then the exhale, you're gonna sprinkle the right fingertips down to the right, just so that you can feel a little bit of earth there. Left arm is gonna reach up and over, so I'm not mirroring you. Doesn't matter if you're doing kind of mirroring the same side as me, but just note what side you're doing. And not collapsing into your right side body. So there's still like this action going on from where you feel your core. Breathe into the left side rib cage, inhale. And exhale, we're gonna swap. You move your weight a little bit more to the other side. Fingertips comes down, right arm powers up and over. Neck is long. And there's still this sense of carrying yourself from your center, feeling into the earth underneath you. One more round of breath. And then starting to come back to center. We'll come into one more seated stretch. So you're gonna elongate your legs out straighter. Now my feet might disappear in the picture, I'm not sure. We'll see. Arms are gonna lift up. And now before you fold, make contact again with your sitting bones, the earth underneath you. Press slightly, heels down. And then you're gonna start to roll forward any amount. And we'll bring in some movement here. So you're gonna start to move the spine a little bit side to side. Enjoying this gentle sway of movement back and forth. And focus on the lower body. With the focus there on the lower body and how you can meet this. And then if there's an invitation to come to a more still place, you could bring your forearms down. You can roll out the neck a little bit. And still that connection with the heels down to the floor. They're not just kind of collapsing straight down into this. Good. And the next inhale, you're going to start to lift back up towards to be seated. Exhale, knees are going to come in towards one another. And you're going to stay seated for just one more moment. I'm going to turn to the other direction so that you can see me better. Cup hold of the knees and slide the feet a little bit on an angle away from yourself so that you can feel the feet grounded. And then as you inhale, you're going to broaden and open the knees slightly to gaze up again. And then exhale, we're going to round and we're going to stay rounded. And you can bring your hands behind your knees if it's easier, or you can keep your hands on the knees. And we're just going to breathe into the back body here. Couple rounds of breath. What moves through in stillness? And you can gently even press your knees into the hands, hands into the knees. The next inhale, you can start to come up. And now we're going to cross our ankles or shin bones and roll forward to hands and knees, so your first tabletop. And we'll come into free movement. So I use a lot of free movement in my classes, and if you're unsure, I'll give you a little bit of guidance, but I want you also to enjoy just moving freely the spine. So it could be cats and cows just to start with, to get you in there. But you can also start to explore what happens if you pour your weight back towards the knees or forward towards the hands. Just a couple of moments. So we're not going to be here super long today, but I want you to really feel and connect inwards. To all that is you right now, right here. Good. And the next time you inhale, you're going to gather yourself back to all fours, and you're going to stay there, tabletop, as you exhale. You're going to shift your weight slightly into your left knee and move the left shin bone out to the left so you can slide the right leg out into the air behind you. You're going to start to open through the right hip. Getting a lot of sun here today, which is nice. I hope that you can still see me. Right hand to the hip. And then for a moment, pause here. Hold for one more inhale. And then as you exhale, right foot is going to come down. You're going to open right arm up and over. And here, pressing into your left hand so that you lift through the right shoulder a little bit. You find this rainbowing or curving of the spine, maybe a better word. And then start to spiral your heart forward and up and slightly bend through the right elbow. Good. Hold here. One more inhale. And then exhale. Right hand comes down. You're going to step the right foot forward and outside the right hand. Now come to your fingertips or stay on your hands. We're going to start to move the spine like we've done in different positions here. So as you inhale, you're going to broaden the heart collarbones. You're going to move your weight forward with the hips. And the exhale is going to start to round you any amount. And you're going to stay with this, moving back and forth. Just a couple of these. And you can decide how big this movement becomes. It might be smaller than what I'm doing, or it might be bigger. Good. Last few moments with the swaying. And the next time you move forward, I invite you to stay in stillness. And you don't have to lock yourself into this. So you could, have micro movements there with the tailbone side to side. But just feel how your weight is moving through the hands, down. And take one more big round of breath. And then slightly pressing the hips back. We're gonna move the right knee to be aligned with the left. Taking an inhale to round yourself forward, 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 and then as you exhale, start to unravel down and forward onto your belly. I'm gonna take a few cobra expressions, and I invite you today to bring your palms outside of the mat, lift the elbows. And then for a moment, pause here, feel how your tailbone is kind of drawing down towards the heels. You're pressing your pubic bone down and forward. Hands are really listening to the earth underneath you. You're gonna inhale, lift forward up. And exhale, you're gonna roll back down. Good. 2 more like this with your own round of breath. Lifting as you inhale and lowering down as you exhale. Use this movement to get in deeper to everything that is moving you, your breath, your muscles, your bones, organs are also there supporting. Hands under shoulders, tuck toes under, and take an exhale to move yourself back to tabletop. In a moment, just to again pause and maybe move or become still to feel what is moving through you. How are you meeting with earth? So a lot of this sensory awareness of where you are, how you're meeting with earth helps you ground. And then when you're ready, right shin bone is moving out to the right. And you're gonna extend the left leg into the air to open through the left hip, and pause here for a moment, bringing maybe left hand to your left hip. And again, feel how you're meeting with earth first. Take one more inhale. Exhale, left foot is gonna come down, left arm powers up and over towards the front of the mat. And you're gonna start to again find this bend through the side body. So you're pressing slightly into the floor to lift the left lung up higher. Good, hold here. Then you're gonna start to move your heart forward as much as you can. So you draw the right shoulder under. It's like you're trying to peel the left shoulder more open. So see if you need to bend the left elbow to broaden the heart up towards sky. How is the connection to earth helping you be here? One more inhale. Exhale slowly. Left hand down and forward. Move right shin bone straight and step the left foot forward outside the left hand to the top of the mat into that lizard lunge. And starting with those sways again. So allow also this music that you're using. If you're using music, I hope that you're using my recommendation to hold you in it. So every inhale, there's that broadening of the collarbones. You move your weight more forward with the hips. And the exhale, there's any amount of rounding. Just a few more of these. And even though it's a quite simple movement, can you bring a sense of curiosity also into it, to how you're moving, to how you're being? Good. About 2 more rounds of breath, moving in your own pace. And the next time you come forward, you're gonna stay in stillness and commit to that stillness. Keep the neck still long. And feel everything underneath you. And what happens if you soften into this, just this? Good. Next inhale, push your hips halfway back. Next, I'll slide the left knee to meet the right. And you're gonna move yourself back to a child's pose with the knees together. So knees come together. And you're gonna bring yourself into Balasana. I'm gonna pause here, meet with earth. Give the weight down, down, down. And just allowing again yourself to feel anything that is there. Even if it's not the things that you might prefer always to feel. Sometimes slowing down can kind of charge us more with anxiety. And you always have the agency to pause this video if it feels like too much, so you don't have to do everything. One more round of breath. And then next inhale, you're gonna start to come up to be seated. We're gonna do one last thing together. You're gonna move your weight a little bit forward. You're gonna tuck all of the 10 toes under. Come a little bit back and notice if you need to help the pinky toe to come with you into this. So sometimes if you have like more crooked pinky toes like I do, you might need to help them a little bit. Bring the knees together and then sit back to your heels for a moment and notice if this is really intense. And you can bring the fingertips or hands down in front of you. But otherwise, just stay here. You can turn the palms also up or down to your knees or thighs just to feel. And it helps sometimes also to activate the leg bones kind of in towards one another. Gonna stay here about 5 more breaths, but you can always come out earlier. Last round of breath. And then bring the fingertips or hands down in front of you. Untuck the toes and start to tap. And then sit down to your heels. You're gonna lift the knees up, hands out behind you for a moment. Just give yourself that counter stretch. We're gonna come down to a shorter Shavasana. So this is one of those shorter classes. Find your place that feels good for you right now. It can be on the back, can be anywhere in any which way. But about a minute or so, just allow yourself to become more supported by gravity. Maybe one last round of breath. You can start to bring your awareness back to the room that you're in. If you want to, you could even open gently the eyes just to invite up a little bit more light. If your hands and arms are by your sides, I invite you to place them to your lower belly and heart to feel your own hands on your body. And we're gonna end the class here today on the back. So if you want to stay here longer, you're welcome to. But also, if you're going on with your day after this, really take your time. Give yourself gratitude for taking this shorter class, and big thank you. And I'll see you soon again.